Everybody, I am so excited to be here with you right now. Give me just a moment while I get my screen sharing going, and we'll get ready for the final class of this semester for the large class. And then you get to have fantastic um, your fantastic final lab with your group coming up this week. So I want to make sure that you all got my announcement about the packback extension for anything that you want to make up for this semester. You can do that in packback until Thursday at 4, and then also the blog prompts. You can answer those blogs until Thursday at 4 as well. So, yes. So as things wrap up, I think that will, yeah, this is really beautiful. So, um, so here's where we were way back in week 1. Take a moment and just just a moment and reflect on this point. Reflect on this point of where we were in week 1. Take a moment to breathe into that as you come to presence for this class. Really do what works for you right now. We've had some practice over the course of this semester with lots of different breathing, lots of different awareness, some stretching, counting your breath, focusing on an exhale. Whatever works for you to trigger that parasympathetic nervous system, that gut brain to work. So as you reflect on this, what has this journey of these 15 weeks been for you? We've been on this journey together. And I want you to take a moment in your lab groups, there in your small Zoom groups, to really take a moment and dive into this. What has this journey been for you? We've had challenges, we've had efforts that have been made, we've had disappointments, and we've had enlightenments. So this meeting marks the end of a long journey that has been called forth for each of us. So take 3 minutes. I know that's not long enough, but take 3 minutes in your Zoom group to really think and feel into this. What has this been for you? Thank you all for what you are conversing about out there. I'm getting snippets of that in my chat, and I'm really grateful for that. Um, so, somebody commented that this semester has felt really fake being online and hasn't felt really real. Um, and I get that. You've seen me here in my room where I spend a lot of time, and in some ways I'm talking just to Pedro, and yet all of you are out there. So it does feel fake in some ways. I can feel that, and yet there's this flip side for me that the connections that we have made this semester are really vital in this important time of shift and change. Somebody said that they feel more alive, that they're spending less time on their phone and more time in nature. This class was really needed right now, and the connections with your lab mates are really beautiful and important. And so, being even just the small step of having our cameras on makes a big difference. Um, Somebody said that the importance of exploring things deeper and asking why has been powerful. So I realize that there are a lot of different answers. There are 490 some of you in this class, and plus all the TAs, and so everybody could have a different answer to this question. Why do I teach BiSci? It's because I feel deeply that there is power and there's possibility in this group of people. And I'm grateful that you took this course. With knowledge comes responsibility and the hero's journey, and everything matters. We are each part of the universe. We are each part of Earth. Earth has birthed us into being from the stuff out there in the universe. Earth feeds us and waters us and shelters us, and we have this in common with all living beings, plants and animals. We have things in common with the rocks on the ground, the crystals. We're all made of that beautiful stuff. We challenged ourselves to see with new eyes, see this world with the eyes of wonder and humility and gratitude and connection. From there, we moved into the hard part of part 2, where we emphasized the abuse of the earth and feeling the pain of these times. I said so many times, I said, do not look away as I showed these pictures. Our feelings are part of our intelligence, and it's that makes us human. Do not look away. By allowing ourselves to feel, we can become fully human. Oil spills and other human made disasters, disrespect of other lives, deforestation, the tragic situation of the ocean, abject poverty, proliferation of chemicals around us and in us, chaos with the climate, dump sites, mountaintop removal to remove coal. So we talked through the tragedy and the chaos. And it was hard. It is hard. It's hard for me every time. If you come back and visit BiSci in part 2 of the course next time, you'll find that it's hard. We experienced this world of wounds, and then we moved to part 3, where we paid attention to sustainability as it relates to our daily choices of food and shelter, transportation and energy. And we got to focus on the creativity and the possibility and the opportunity of these times. My task was to endeavor to offer to all of you hope and freedom and the power in your choices. So there's a page in Canvas It's under pages, where if you are looking for ways to act on your power of choice, you'll find an ever evolving document. There are podcasts and Instagram accounts and places to shop and websites to follow. And this is a place where I need your help. If you find other links that I should include there, that I can include, please, please send them to me. I want to show us all that there are so many people that are doing this good work in the world. So, where we are is this. The only thing we have to do to be sure that we will leave a ruined world for our children and grandchildren is to do exactly what we're doing now. So, what will happen for you? What will happen for us after you leave this class? Will we go back to the way that we lived before? Or will we commit to recycling and console ourselves that we're doing our part, even though we know that recycling is helpful, but it's really trivial in the face of the state of the earth? It's good, but it's not good enough. So here we are, living in historically the greatest, most powerful country the world has ever known, with more wealth, more technology, more science, more weapons, more knowledge, more privilege than any other country. And yes, rather than leading the world toward a sustainable future, we have been headed in exactly the opposite direction as we fail to act, as we fail to work against climate change, withdrawing from the Paris Accord, leading the world in per capita greenhouse gas emissions, petroleum production, and consumption of goods, cars and clothing and technology. So what are we going to do about this? Well, it just so happens the cool thing about this is that it's encoded in the abbreviation of our country. It's us. It's us. It's you and me and the everyday common people that have the resolve to make change. So make America great again. What are you sensing that you will do? What is rising in you right now? I want you to talk about this. What are you feeling connected to, inspired to, compelled to do? What are you sensing you will do? Take 3 minutes now. Again, I know that's not long enough, but we just don't have long enough in our 50-minute period. So take 3 minutes and talk about this. I have the sense that 3 minutes wasn't long enough, nearly long enough. And so this is a conversation that you can continue in your labs this week. It can continue over your group meet conversations. It can continue when you meet up with your lab mates and your friends, whether it's in BiSci, your BiSci friends, or your other friends. This is an important conversation. I just added this morning an article, a really beautiful article, to the week 15 under the Opportunity is Now Here. It's an article about people who are weaving our social fabric. We're living with the excesses of 60 years of hyper individualism. There's a lot of emphasis in our culture on personal freedom, self interest, and self expression, and with the idea that life is an individual journey toward personal fulfillment. And I believe that that's true. And that's a lot of what we've taught and talked about and shared with each other in this class. And so the article is about how there are people who are weavers, people who make those connections, people who bring people together. And so, what I would add to this article is that yes, personal individual freedoms and talents and gifts are really vital. And yet, there are ways, like somebody just said in the chat, I am ready to share my wisdom and my talents with the world. And that's what this is about. It's about finding your personal freedom for the good of all. And so I want to share with you this little story from my friend. She was a student in BiSci. She says, while in the shower, a place that I do most of my thinking, I was contemplating every problem in the world that I could think of, everything I wanted to fix instantly to make the world a better place. It's a long list, and I'm prone to worrying. It adds up, and the feeling of helplessness often overwhelms me. I know a lot of you have felt that way at some point in time, she says, especially this semester. BiSci opens our minds to think about the bigger picture, sometimes in challenging and uncomfortable ways. It can be debilitating to want to help so much and make huge changes when you feel so little, she says. I, for one, think we are all very little. As we know, we are each just a blip on the timeline of the universe. But even though we are small beings, and what we each do alone won't change the entire world, I still believe that there is beauty and power in making small impacts in the lives of others. It's been said as a cliche before, but I think it's something worth believing in, she says. If we all make a small impact, perhaps we will begin to make a bigger one together. But to do so, we must turn toward all beings and Earth, our home, with empathy, love, and openness. And that's what it means to be a weaver. I share with you this, The Great Turning. This was written by a woman named Christine Fry. And this is what it's about for me. You've asked me to tell you of the Great Turning, of how we saved the world from disaster. The answer is both simple and complex. We turned. For hundreds of years, we had turned away as life on Earth grew more precarious. We turned away from the homeless men on the streets and the stench from the river, the children orphaned in Iraq and the mothers dying of AIDS in Africa. We turned away because that's what we had been taught, to turn away from our pain, the hurt in another's eyes, from the drunken father, or from the friend betrayed. And we were told in actions louder than words to turn away, turn away. And so we became a lonely people caught up in a world moving too quickly, too mindlessly toward its own demise, until it seemed as though there was no safe space to turn, no place, inside or out, that did not remind us of fear or terror, despair or loss, anger and grief. And yet, on one of those days, someone did turn, turned to face the pain, turned to face the stranger, turned to look at the smoldering world and the hatred seething in too many eyes, turned to face himself or herself. And then another turned, and another, and another. And as they wept, they took each other's hands until whole groups of people were turning, young and old, gay and straight, people of all colors, all nations, all religions, turning not only to the pain and to the hurt, but also to the gratitude and the beauty and the love, turning to each other with forgiveness and a longing for peace in their hearts. At first, the turning made people dizzy, even silly. There were people standing to the side, gawking and criticizing, trying to knock the turners down. But the people turning kept getting up, kept helping one another to their feet until their laughter and their kindness brought others into the turning circle. Until even the naysayers began to smile and sway. And as the people turned, they began to spin, reweaving the web of life, mending the shocking tears, knitting it back together with the colors of earth, sewing on tiny mirrors so beauty of each person, each creature, each plant, each life might be seen and respected. As the people turned, as they spun like the earth through the universe, the web wrapped around them like a soft baby blanket, making it clear we all are loved. Nothing is separate. As this love reached into every crack and crevice, the people began to wake and wonder, to breathe and give thanks, to celebrate together. And so the world will be saved, but only as long as you too, sweet one, remember to turn. That's Christine Fry. And I'm grateful every time I read that. So with knowledge comes power and responsibility. So how are we going to turn? Denying our feelings, going numb is life denying. We humans have emotions for a reason. Being able to feel has been critical to our adaptation and survival as a species. And so what I just read, the pre-turning part, that's the old story. And now we get to make a new one. We're making a new story. The world is affected by your yeses and nos. What do I mean by that? The world is affected by your yeses and nos. This feels pretty stark, and yet I think there are some really important points to be made here. For the state of the environment and climate change, you need to face your grief, but have a vision of the future. This vision of the future is absolutely key, and it's absolutely possible. So right now, as we face the challenges of coronavirus, we're facing a lot of grief. We're facing a lot of hardships. And I just want to acknowledge that that the current state of national and international politics, or the politics of your household, those might all seem very dramatic and can also apply here. Facing your grief, specifically environmentally related, as we are seeing the underlying cause of this pandemic. The changes will come and be more disorienting than ones we have seen before, and it's going to be easy to lose our focus unless we can clearly see where we want to go. Keep asking questions and forming that vision of what's possible and working toward it. Defend the truth. Learn to find the truth. Learn to distinguish between real science and pseudoscience. Don't give up on people who have views that are different than yours. It takes all of us together. Find and defend the truth. See yourself as a citizen and not as a consumer. Reflect on your relationship with stuff every day. Purchasing, using, and throwing away. Consuming is huge for us in this nation, this great nation of ours. I added another article today related to this. It's there under the week 15, Opportunity is Now Here, about the idea that we used to be called citizens and now we are called consumers. How has that shift happened? When you practice responsible consumerism, it makes you a citizen. Put your money where it matters, in both what you buy and what you invest in. Engage in politics. Whatever your beliefs are, this is important. Right now, democracies all over the world are threatened by the climate crisis and the lack of understanding around diversity. And democracy must evolve to meet the challenge. The first duty of government is to protect its people. Then, across much of the world, the form of democracy we have become is failing. Climate change is an existential threat and is likely to intensify faster than most people realize. If our systems of government can't protect us from that existential threat, then they will be replaced. But those replacements might take a long time to evolve and may not be better. So we have to work toward what it means for government to work for the people. And yet, in this late hour, we still have a choice about our future. And every action we take from this moment forward counts. We are capable of making the right choices about our own destiny. We are not doomed to a devastating future. Humanity is not flawed and incapable of responding to big problems if we act now. So I know that it hits me someplace deep inside when I think about looking into the eyes of my children and my grandchildren and saying, when they ask, what did you do to make it better? My answer cannot just be that I did everything I could. I did everything I could. That's all I could do. Yep, that was it. It has to be more than that for me. And I urge you to think about that there's really only one answer. It's not just I did everything I could. I did everything that's necessary to make it better. I did everything necessary. It will be a story of a great adventure against overwhelming odds, a magnificent story of weaving and turning. Of weaving and turning. And so I want you to talk about this. Break out again in your groups and see what's going on for you. What are you thinking about right now? What are you feeling? What is your gut telling you about how you will move forward? What are you going to do to make sure that you do everything that's necessary? And that's a big question. Um, and it's going to take a community of people. And that's exactly what we have right here. So talk about it. Take 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and talk about it. So at this point, I need to express my gratitude. I need to express my gratitude to each of you, for going out on a limb, for doing something new and different and crazy with me in this class, for being willing to think in new ways and to stretch yourself and to feel and to explore and to ask questions and to just be you. That's the most beautiful part of this experience for me, is watching you be you. I need to express my gratitude to the TAs. They're what makes this class magical. They're the ones that make the connections possible. And I couldn't, and I wouldn't be willing to do this without the TAs. So thank you for all that you do. For the learning coordinators who help me to train the TAs, who help me to keep all the pieces moving, that help me to keep my shit together. The learning coordinators and Pedro, I lean on you a lot, and even more so this semester than I have in the past. And so I am so grateful that you've got my back and that we can do this together. Thank you. I'm grateful to our guest speakers that we've had this semester, as I think that it broadens perspectives. I'm grateful to Chris Ewell, the author of your book, and the man who was inspired enough to make this class what it is. And so I encourage you, if you feel so inclined, to reach out and express your gratitude as well. It's a way of weaving and turning and making connections. So express your gratitude to your TAs if you're feeling it. And maybe to other people in your life too, other people outside of BiSci. It's a really simple and beautiful act, as I said, of turning and weaving. And so with that, I like to, I'd like to play this song for you. The lyrics are here for you. It's a lot, I know, on this slide, but I need to play this song for you. So please just sit and take this in, and yeah, just take it in. Close your eyes if that feels right. May I suggest to you, may I suggest this is the best part of your life. May I suggest this time is blessed for you. This time is blessed and shining almost blinding bright. Just turn your head and you'll begin to see the 1,000 reasons that were just beyond your sight. The reasons why I suggest to you, why I suggest this is the best part of your life. There is a world that's been addressed to you, intended only for your eyes. A secret world, a treasure chest to you, of private scenes and brilliant dreams that mesmerize. A tender lover's smile, a tiny baby's hands, the million stars that fill the turning sky at night. Oh, I suggest, yes, I suggest to you, yes, I suggest this is the best part of your life. There is a hope that's been expressed in you. The hope of 7 generations, maybe more. This is the faith that they invest in you. It's that you'll do one better than was done before. Inside you know, inside you understand. Inside you know what's yours to finally set right. And I suggest to you, and I suggest this is the best part of your life. This is a song, comes from the west to you. Comes from the west, comes from the slowly setting sun. This is a song with a request of you to see how very short the endless days will run. And when they're gone, and when the dark descends, we'd give anything for one more hour of light. May I suggest this is the best part of your life. So if it helps, just keep your eyes closed for a moment and breathe. I want you to see that each of you has goodness, that each of you is enough, and that each of us are needed in this time and this place. You are in the right place at the right time. The community of the Earth's people need you. The community of Earth's beings need you. And Earth itself needs you to be you, just as you. You are creating culture. You have power of choice. And you need to be you. I hope that you find that power, that you celebrate that power, that you live into that power, because we need you. I'm going to offer you 2 final quotes, and you might want to screenshot them or write them down. May I suggest? Yikes. We must let go of the life we have planned so as to accept the one that's waiting for us. Joseph Campbell is the father of the hero's journey. And so as you think about that quote, think about the paths that lay in front of you. Just live your way into the choices. You don't need to have all the answers right now. And finally, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. There is not an iota in my body that doubts Alice Walker's quote. So with this, I send you out into the world with the faith that together we can weave and turn. And I hope that you have an absolutely lovely day. Thanks for being with me this semester.